Euro 2024 is just 3 days away now, and I thought it was about time I actually make a predictions video. So we're going to go through the entire tournament and I'm going to predict the winner. I'll talk about who I think is going to be the top scorer, player of the tournament, maybe a breakout star that people might not necessarily have been expecting, and then potentially one or two teams that I expect to completely flop. So stick with me and I'll take you through it all. So for this video, I'm going to use the Telegraph, basically Euros 2024 predictor. I'll leave a link to it in the description. Thank you to the Telegraph for providing this. It's the best sort of complete Euro 2024 prediction that I can find. So we're going to use that to predict the tournament winner. And whilst we go through this, I'm also going to talk about those other players that I mentioned, potential player of the tournament, top scorer, breakout players in teams that will flop. So we're going to start off then with Group A. That contains Germany, Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland. So I've got to say, I think Germany run away with this group. They're the home team in great form, both internationally, and a lot of their players have had a fantastic domestic and European season. Obviously, Bayern Munich reaching sort of the back ends of the Champions League, despite having what was apparently a disappointing season. Leverkusen going all but one game undefeated this season. Borussia Dortmund making the Champions League final. Yeah, they've got a mixture of some really, really good players. So I think Germany win the group. That much is pretty much guaranteed in my mind. Next up, we've got Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland. And I've got to say, I cannot choose between these three teams as to who will finish second, third, and fourth. Scotland, their second tournament, a lot of hype around them. They've got some really, really talented players. And I just feel their squad has a really good energy about them. And I think they could really challenge for, to get to the next stage, basically. Hungary got Szoboszlai as kind of their talisman. Not a whole lot of attacking talent, but one thing you can definitely say about Hungary is that they are really good defensively. I think in their last 9 international games, they've only conceded 8 goals. And usually in tournaments, the best teams are the ones that are the best defensively. And I think Hungary kind of tick that box. So I think they could do pretty well in the group. Whether they qualify or not, I guess waiting to find out what I think. Switzerland, on paper, they've got a really nice team, but I think internationally, they always seem to disappoint. Shaqiri in previous tournaments has been like a talismanic figure for them. On penalties, free kicks, seems to always net 3 or 4 goals per tournament. He's kind of aging a little bit now. Almost going over the edge, I guess. He's playing in the MLS, I believe. Not quite the level we've seen of him in previous tournaments. I don't think he's going to be on the pitch for 90 minutes every game, for example. So we've got Xhaka, obviously in great form for Leverkusen this season. A really good goalkeeper. I can't remember his name now. Kobel, isn't it? The Borussia Dortmund goalkeeper, who I think should be starting for them. It's either him or Sommer. Really good goalkeeper. Schär in defence alongside other really talented players. Akanji and Schär as the centre-back pairing, which is really strong. They've always just failed to deliver when they put it all together. Right then, I'm going to say Scotland second, Switzerland third, Hungary in fourth. Although I really do think it could go either way with those 3 teams. Group B then, called the Group of Death, I guess, by journalists this year, and I guess because it's got 3 traditionally strong international teams. I think Spain are by far, in a way, the strongest team in this group. They're kind of in a bit of a transitional phase between the old guard and the new guard, likes of Pedri, Lamine Yamal, etc. coming through. I just don't think they're good enough to win the tournament. I definitely think they're the strongest team in this group, though. I just think their defence lets them down a little bit. One thing I would say about Spain that they haven't necessarily had in teams gone by is they've got real pace in their team now. Lamine Yamal on the right, potentially Nico Williams playing on the left. Both those players are lightning quick, and I think they offer Spain something they've not necessarily had in their previous generations. Even that golden generation, the Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Torres team, right? David Villa, maybe, but they didn't have a whole lot of out-and-out pace in that team. But now they do, and I think over the next sort of 4 to 8 years, as those players really get into their prime, the likes of Pedri, Gavi, obviously Rodri's in there as well already, I just think they're going to be a force internationally, but right now, just don't think they're quite there, but I do think they're the strongest team in the group. Croatia, they obviously have a great run internationally in tournaments gone by. I think this is probably their last one where they're a real kind of top team. Modric and Brozovic, they're kind of towards the end of their careers now, two absolute stalwarts in that Croatian defence. Got a decent goalkeeper, Gvardiol in defence. Attacking-wise, they're not too bad. I do think defensively they're going to be really strong this tournament. And like I said when talking about Hungary, defence brings you success in international tournaments, right? And I think Croatia will be up there amongst the strongest defence. I'm going to go second for Croatia. Italy, they're just not the team that we remember from years gone by. The old guard of, Chiellini, Barzagli, Bonucci in defence, they're not there anymore. And I think that's a massive gap they leave behind. Bastoni is probably their best defender right now. They've got a couple of really accomplished wing-backs in DiMarco and Di Lorenzo. They'll probably be playing a back five with obviously DiMarco and Di Lorenzo either side of that. But the other two defenders alongside Bastoni are not necessarily proven. Certainly not at international level anyway. And I think Verratti, I don't believe, is a starter for them at the moment. And their attack is just not all that inspiring. So of years gone by, they've been by far and away the best international side. Well, certainly in Europe. They won the Euros last year, right? But right now, I don't think they're there. And I don't actually think they'll get through automatically. I'm going to put them in third place. I think Italy are going to be a bit of a flop. And then Albania, I don't need to speak much about Albania, I don't think. I think they are one of two weakest teams in the tournament. Unfortunately, they might scrape a result against someone like Italy, but I don't see them getting through. I think they'll finish comfortably fourth. Next up, we've got Group C then, and as an Englishman, this is the group I have the most vested interest in. We've got Slovenia, Denmark, Serbia, and England. Slovenia, I just don't think. I think they're probably the weakest team in the group. Their kind of star player is their goalkeeper, who is probably, if not the best, one of the best goalkeepers in the world in Oblak. But outside of that, I just don't think they offer a whole lot. Denmark, they've got a really nice team, and I think over the years it will only continue to get better. Højlund up front is an actual accomplished striker now. I think something they've been missing in previous tournaments. Eriksson, Højlund, Højbjerg, not Højlund, in midfield. Got a really strong and accomplished defence with Mæhle as a really nice attacking fullback, wing-back, and Schmeichel in goal. I think they've got a nice spine of a really good team. Serbia, they're okay. I think defensively they're probably quite weak. But going forwards, they've got some fairly household names in their teams, like Milinkovic-Savic, Tadic, Mitrovic, and Vlahovic. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. Playing for Juventus. Well, might leave Juventus this year, but I'm pretty sure he plays for Juventus at the moment. So attacking-wise, I think they're quite dangerous, and they're a massive team. I would say probably half of their team is 6'2", 6'3", or higher. And I think they'll offer quite a lot of threat from set pieces, particularly with Tadic and his ball deliveries. Just defensively, I think they're a bit lacking. And then England, do I think they'll win the whole thing? Spoiler, probably not. I just think their defence isn't strong enough or necessarily experienced enough. We've got Walker, Stones, Gahey and Shaw likely to be the back four. I just got question marks as to whether that is strong enough to win us a tournament, particularly Mark Gahey. I mean, it's his time to shine, really. It appears that he's Gareth Southgate's first choice to partner John Stones. Obviously, John Stones doesn't even play centre-back for his team, Man City, anymore. He did again in the FA Cup final, but they lost that game. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure how far England get. I guess we'll work that out as we go through. But I do expect them to win the group. They're the strongest team in this group, in my opinion. So I'm going to say, based on what I said, England in first, if we can get them there. Denmark in second. I'll go Serbia in third and Slovenia in fourth. Group D then, we've got Netherlands, Austria, France and Poland. Poland, unfortunately, don't have a star striker anymore. Both Milik and Lewandowski look to be injured. I think that really weakens them, to be honest. Netherlands, a really, really strong defence. Unfortunately, Frankie de Jong is out of the tournament injured now. Got a decent attack and a decent midfield. Like, all round, they're a pretty decent side. I'd probably say they're the second best team in this group. Austria don't necessarily have a whole lot of household names in their team, but what they do have is a clear identity and style of play, thanks to Ralf Rangnick, and he uses quite a lot of players from the Red Bull setup, which he's famous with sort of being a part of before. They all play that high energy, gegenpressing kind of style. And there aren't many international teams, I find, with a clear identity and strong way of playing. And Austria really have that. I don't think they will get through automatically. I'd probably put them in third place in this group. just with the style of play. I think they could easily get a result in my mind out of the Netherlands and potentially France as well. But I don't see them doing well enough to finish first or second. And then we got France, who I think obviously one of the strongest teams in the tournament. They've got a stacked lineup in pretty much every position. Defensively, they don't even start Saliba, who I think is probably the best centre-back in world football, right? So, and of course, they've got Kylian Mbappe, best player in the world, and I'd say has a real chance of being the top scorer in the competition. In fact, in terms of my top scorer for the competition, I'd say it's probably between Mbappe, Kane, Ronaldo, and Lukaku, depending on how many minutes and how far into the tournament each of those players get. So for Group D, I'm going to go France, Netherlands, Austria, and Poland. Okay, Group E, we've got Belgium, Slovakia, Romania, and Ukraine. Belgium, they're kind of over the hill in terms of their golden generation. A lot of aging players now, particularly in defence, so their defence is going to be a sort of a new look setup compared to what we've seen previously. Obviously, the likes of Alderweireld, Vermaelen, etc. over the hill now. Some of them even, I think they're both retired now. So they're going to be relying on Wout Faes and Vertonghen at centre-back, which I don't think is the strongest pairing. They do have Castagna at right-back, who I think offers some attacking threat. Potentially Onana as their centre defensive midfielder. Tielemans and Kevin De Bruyne in midfield. They've got, Trossard, Doku and Lukaku up front, which is really strong. I just think they're left a bit lacking defensively, but I think they're by far the strongest team in this group. So I'm going to put Belgium in first. Slovakia, I think they have a few household names. I'd say they're probably the third strongest team in this group. Romania just probably being the weakest, and Ukraine being the second place. So I'm going to go Ukraine, Slovakia, and Romania, with Belgium winning the group. Group F, Turkey up first. They had a really disappointing World Cup. I thought they'd kind of be my dark horses for the 2022 World Cup, but they were absolutely shocking. And I think after a tournament that bad, there's only one way they can bounce back. And I do think they'll have a better showing of it in Euro 2024. Georgia, they've got one real star player, and that's about it. I don't mean to disrespect them, but I just don't see them as being strong enough to get through. Portugal, I think they're one of the best teams in the tournament. They've got an almost world-class player in every single position. And I think João Palhinha playing at the base of midfield, the aggressive, tough tackling kind of style that he provides, is a really nice balance with potentially Bruno Fernandes and Vitinha, Bernardo Silva in midfield in front of him. I think they've got a really nice balanced team. Obviously a stacked defence, Ruben Diaz, Inacio, Pepe, Dalot, Cancelo, João, what's his name? Nuno, I forgot his name. The left back who played for PSG. I can't remember his name, it's gone though. There's so many players to remember. Apologies for that. But they've got a really strong team and a good player in every position, right, to Portugal. So I think they win the group quite comfortably. Then Czech Republic, Czechia. Patrick Schick up front. Thomas Souček being their penalty taker. Few household names. I think it's probably between them and Turkey as to who finishes second in the group. I'm going to give it to Turkey. You say Turkey second, Czechia third, Georgia fourth. And then in order so a fair few third-place teams will get through to the round of 16. We've got to choose between Switzerland, Italy, Serbia, Austria, Slovakia, and Czech Republic, Czechia, as to who gets through. I'm going to say Austria, probably Switzerland, Italy, and I'm going to say the Czech Republic. And then Slovakia and Serbia, I put Serbia just above. So those are the teams that go through in terms of third-place rankings. So then, the round of 16, that gives us Germany against Denmark. I'm going to say Germany for that one. Scotland and Croatia would be a good game, wouldn't it? Just give it to the edge of Croatia. I think slightly, the players that are quality for Croatia, I think are just a step up from the Scotland players. And I think their experience will go a long way. And their defence is probably better. So I'm going to say Croatia. Spain and Austria, I'm going to go Spain. I think England win that one. Portugal and Italy, I think Portugal take that. I think the Netherlands beat Ukraine, Belgium beat Switzerland, and France beat Turkey. So I guess in terms of a breakout team, breakout players, I think Spain could be that. I just don't think they're quite there to win the tournament, like I was saying, but they've got some really strong players and pace, a mixture of technical ability and pace in their team, which I think even their golden generation was missing. Quarterfinals then, Germany, Spain, Portugal, Netherlands, Belgium, France, and England, Croatia. Germany and Spain is going to be really close. I'd say that game could even go down to penalties. And I'm just going to give it to Germany, just for their better defence. I think they'll hold on more than Spain can. Portugal and Netherlands is going to be a really good game as well. I'm going to give that to Portugal, though. I just think they have slightly stronger players in every position than the Netherlands do, barring, of course, Van Dijk at centre-back. France and Belgium, I have to give that to France. England and Croatia, I have to give that, I think, to England. Which leaves us, in my mind, with the best 4 teams in the tournament in the semi-finals. I think these are the 4 strongest contenders for the whole tournament, all in the semi-finals. Germany, Portugal, France and England. We'll go Germany, Portugal first. Yes, they're the home team, but I think Portugal are the better team. So I'm going to say Portugal. Like I said, I just think their squad they're stacked, right? Good player in every position, experience, technical ability, pace. Got a destroyer in midfield in Polina. I really like them, and I think they'll probably do better than Germany, who I'd say in 1 or 2 positions just don't have a top player there. France and England again in the semis. Sorry, I think it's France. I just think they have too much for England to deal with defensively. I don't think England have the players defensively to cope with the French attack. And the final, I'm going to go France. I think France win the tournament. I've put a slight bet on it already. I just think the experience they have winning international competitions, they've got the best player in the world, probably the best defence in the tournament, technical ability, pace, just everything in their team. And I think the experience of tournaments will just have them edging it over Portugal. So now we've predicted the outcome, there are a couple of things left to talk about, wasn't there? A breakout player, a player of the tournament, and a top scorer. Now, given I've gone for Portugal and France to get all the way to the final, I think I've got to give the top scorer to Kylian Mbappe. Best player in the world, on penalties for France, clearly their talisman. You know, he scored a hat-trick in the World Cup final. He's obviously a player for like the big international occasion. I don't think I can look past him as the top scorer. For player of the tournament, I'm going to go Bruno Fernandes. I think Ronaldo will have more of a bit part role in this tournament. And that leaves Bruno Fernandes to take the penalties and free kicks for Portugal and just have a bigger role in the team. And I think he's going to be that talismanic figure for Portugal, who his chance creation is just off the charts, both for club and internationally. And I think he's got, in his last sort of 30 international games he's played for Portugal, more than 30 attacking returns. And I think he's going to have a great tournament. So player of the tournament, I'm going to say, is Bruno Fernandes. And then an emerging sort of talent, I genuinely think it's going to be João Palhinha of Portugal. I know it's a bit of a boring shout, right? Picking a centre defensive midfielder as kind of the breakout player of the tournament. But honestly, I think he's so underrated in world football. Like, he has transformed Fulham. He plays for Fulham currently, right? Likely to sign for Bayern Munich in the summer, which obviously Bayern Munich know what they're doing, in my mind, signing players. But he has turned Fulham from like a relegation candidate Premier League side to a side that can comfortably sort of finish mid-table. He is that good, and I think his skills, his ability to like make tackles, ball recoveries, and progress the ball, I think will really show in this tournament. So it might not be that interesting, but I'm going to say João Palhinha could be a breakout player this tournament. I'll just have a scroll up the list to see if there's a more attacking player that could have a breakout time of it. Not necessarily breakout, but I could see Granit Xhaka having a good tournament for Switzerland. He's obviously had a really good season for Leverkusen. Scored a fair few goals for them, and I think he'll have a good tournament for Switzerland. Play sort of more of a talismanic figure, with Shaqiri playing a bit more of a bit part role. Maybe Lamine Yamal for Spain as well. I think this is Barcelona haven't necessarily done all that well in Europe recently, and he's not played like on the big stage, the big occasion. I know playing for Barcelona in itself is a big occasion, but the Euros will be his chance to really step on the world stage, and I think we get a chance to see just how good of a talent he is. So I'm excited to see him play. I think Rodri obviously has a big role to play for Spain. I think he's my Ballon d'Or winner this year, by the way, Rodri. I think maybe that's about it, to be honest. Yeah, those would be my two breakouts. Potentially a chance to see Lamine Yamal, and I got to give it to João Palhinha. I really like him as a player, and I think this tournament he's going to really stand out for Portugal. Okay, and that's the end of the video. Bit of a view there of my predictions for the tournament. Let me know what you think of my, group stage, quarterfinals, etc., tournament tree predictions, my top scorer pick, breakout players, etc. I'd be interested to see what you think about that in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a like rating. Like I said, let me know in the comments what you think. You can subscribe to the Golden Goal channel to see more content from me across the Euros. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video.